I'm waiting for Britt Casey, grabbing his Compass 360R hat. Britt, we were just having a pretty candid conversation. Now, the car that you're racing today, I understand you work for Kettler Motor Works, who preps all the Audis. You actually prepped this car for the race.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story. When I prepped it, I didn't know it was going to be ours, and I didn't know we'd be racing it in 2 months, but yeah, I did prep it. I did part of the PDI with the guys at Kettler Motor Works in Ohio, or actually Indiana, and you know, it's just funny how all these things come together, and you know, Brad's been a huge part of what's going on here with the Audi program, and all those guys just did a killer job. These cars are awesome. Continental tires were great. The fade of the car is so much less drastic than what I'm used to, and I mean, just the stint of consistent lap time was impressive for sure.
So when you look at your future in the motorsports world, where do you see yourself? Do you want to continue driving, or do you want to move to more on the engineering side?
Yep, I'm actually a business major at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. Go Red Hawks, by the way. So you know, having the engineering part of it and racing and working at the shop, and also racing, and then also understanding the business side with our partners like Trump, and why Continental Tire has been in the series, and why everyone else is here, it all comes together, and I think it only betters me as a driver. So
lots of good things to come, I'm sure.
Yeah, thank you.
You talk about championship implications for the 82. Somebody else who had a pretty good finish, that was the TCR class, the 77, Tom Long, Britt Casey. Britt's with Jamie.
We mentioned this at the top of the show. New helmet for the weekend. His grandfather's handwriting. Every day is a gift. Britt, how has that rung true for you here today?
Sorry, what was that?
How has that quote rung true for you today?
Well, you know, it's not really a today thing. It's kind of a life thing. I've always lived my life one day at a time, and same mentality as this. You know, I've been told this my entire life, and he's the one grandparent I never met, my dad's dad. So I've been told forever, every day's a gift, is the way he lived, and deservedly so, with the story behind, you know, his young life and what those guys had to do 70 years ago, and literally saving the world. So, you know, for me to dedicate this to someone that I never met, and someone that really deserves to be closer in my life, I think is a really special thing for me. And I know my family back home was super excited when they saw this thing, and it looks incredible. I couldn't say more about Sensport. And, you know, his work, he's just an absolute artist, absolute talented guy. So, yeah, it's a great day today.
It's a beautiful helmet for sure. And guys, Brad Kettler, who runs the customer racing program for Audi, he talks about Britt Casey, and he says he is something special. He comes into the shop, he works hard, he builds his cars, he dedicates himself, he goes back to school, he studies, he gets behind the wheel, and he does the job. So definitely look out for Britt in the future.
Yeah, he's a special young man, and it's what we said at the top of the show. There are all kinds of veterans in here, and they're working with these guys who are going to be the stars. You may not have heard of Britt Casey before unless you're a Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge Series fan, but you'll hear more about him in the future, I can guarantee it.
He's on that as soon as we can. Normally means somebody has broken ranks and overtaken before the start-finish line. So Spencer Pumpelly with half a second of a lead over Alexander Premat. Russell Ward in 12th position. Just going past us a moment or two ago, was side by side with Alan Brynjolfsson. I think he might have gone by him actually. Yes, he has. So that's a position made up for the 33 Mercedes AMG GT. Just underlining what Jeremy was saying earlier on, Britt Casey Jr. is the leading TCR car in the 77 Compass Racing Machine.
Yeah, there will be a couple. The number 81 car with the pole sitter in ST, that had been lapped by our race leader, along with one of the TCR cars, and also the Nate Laurenberg Mini that was the aggressor in that incident between number 80.
In the classes, Britt Casey Jr. holds a decent lead and has had three GS cars behind him. Between himself and Roy Block in second place. So 77 Compass Audi from 75 Compass Audi, third Kieran O'Rourke in the number 10 Audi tick.
He's been racing V8 supercars in Australia for the last couple of years, but
yeah,
on and off at least. Yeah. And then running this exotic racing series for basically turn up and drive exotic sports cars out at various tracks around the country, primarily I think at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. there's a whole slew of different supercars you can drive out there, and Mark Ramsey was one of the guys who went through that school,
Right.
and now decided to take it one step further and go racing. There's a whole bunch of...
Now in ST, it's a great battle with the BMW. Nick Galanti right in the mix again. He's back up to 4th position.
But I think, yeah, and Mike Lamara, he's back in contention now with that full course caution, but I think it's Mike Lamara who leads the way. As number 74 car of Rodrigo Sales works his way back through past some of these ST cars.
Yeah, that's going to be quite interesting. What you will notice if you are watching that car fighting its way back is just how quick some of these TCR cars are through the corners. They carry quite a lot of aerodynamic aids, and they sit down through there. And they certainly carry a lot of corner speed. Rodrigo trying to get by the STs, may not have the outright speed. The BMW holding on to the 2 Audi TCR cars around it, and the Mini ahead. The 73 car of Mike Lamara, that is the class leader. Here comes the TCRs coming through in formation. 77 goes to the left and goes through
And
4/10.
And in ST, Nick Gallant has moved his way back up to the front and
Wow.
lead in that class now, having got past Mike Lamara last time around.
Scary moment for Britt Casey Jr. as he took to the dirt coming out of turn number 1 a lap or 2 ago, with Luke Rumberg now in the Volkswagen Golf GTI right there as well. So we've actually almost got 4 cars, Jeremy, for the lead in TCR. Rodrigo Sills in the 74 in 5th position is 5.5 seconds back down the road. But if these 3/4 start scrapping, which is exactly what they're doing now, then that could disappear in the blink of an eye. At a second to Owen Trinkler in 3rd, 8:69, 46 and 15. Really big moment at turn 1 a lap or 2 ago for the 77. I'll tell you what I hadn't realised before was Kieran O'Rourke, who was just drifting out towards the edge of the circuit. I don't think Kieran realised that the other Audi was alongside him and just was drifting out on his normal exit run. In fairness, he might have lifted in the middle of the corner too. And Britt Casey Jr. had to get onto the dirt. He's got through and past. It hasn't slowed down Britt Casey Jr., who's back in the lead now, with Roy Block now second in TCR. Luke Rumberg in the Volkswagen. I said he was looking good. Back up into, or up into 3rd, should I say. Kieran O'Rourke has dropped down to 5th because Rodrigo Sales has gone through as well. So
Should be good.
You had a moment out there with the Multimatic Motorsports Mustang. What was all that about from your perspective?
He got a bit of a jump on me on the start. I read it wrong a little bit and just was second delay on the throttle, and he was right up on me. And he had a bit of a better exit than me coming out of 1 and got the inside, and we were side by side. And whenever we came through that corner, the radius comes back over on you, and he didn't move over very far, so I had to stay on the right and went 2 wheels over. But thankfully nothing broke, and we didn't hit each other. So hopefully next time he just gives me a bit more room.
Yeah, it's all good. Good luck for the rest of the race.
Thank you.
Britt Casey Jr., as Jeremy suggested, that 77 Compass Racing TCR leader, the Audi, is now in 9th position.
Yes, and actually he probably doesn't need. He will have to come into pit stop because he's got to hand over to Tom Long. So otherwise he could probably get out in the lead of the race. But no, he does need to come in and make a pit stop for a driver change.
So cars number...
The TCR car, by the way, because the TCR and ST cars have to make their pit stops a lap after all the GS cars, that meant that Britt Casey Jr. will be credited with leading that lap overall.
You were right.
But he will be on the pits, in the pits next time around to hand over that number 77 car for Compass Racing to Tom Long.
Last on pit lane at the completion of lap 13 for Britt Casey Jr., so that's been a good long run for him.
Within a green flag lap.
He's in the pit lane now.
Within a green flag lap.
He's in the pit lane now. Now, I'm going to ask a question here that you might not know the answer to. When does the incoming driver's time start? I think it's pit exit, and I think they're not going to make 45 minutes.
No, they'll make it. They'll be out of here within 2 minutes of now.
Let's go down to Shea Adam, who is in Mini World.
And what a wonderful place to be it is. The 73 comes into the pit box closest to me. Nate Nuremberg jumps out, and that is Derek Jones jumping in, I do believe. And we have an M-Combo being installed into the other Mini. That would be the number 37. So we should have a fairly confusing timing screen now, John, because it should be 2 M-Combos, unless I'm making that up, because the 52 did their driver change a little bit earlier on. We also have the BGB Porsche down there, and the BMW came back in, finally doing their driver change. That means that Nick Gallant's been in that car for about 2 hours, all said and done. He's only been racing it for a lot longer than that, about an hour and 20 minutes, but he's been sitting in it for a while. He finally gets out, and that pit stop looks to be going smoothly as well.
Damien Fault has lost another position. Must be an issue. Well, he did it 2:20 last time around. There's an issue with the 33 car. See if we can get a report from our Continental Tire pit lane team. The 33 Winwood HTP car is losing pace, whilst at the front of the field, Kyle Marcelli, Greg Gleefuger and Toby Grahovec have done their fastest laps of the race, 2:14, 4, 7 and 6 respectively. It was a 2:20 from Faulkner, and what looked to be a promising potential, maybe top 6 finish, maybe better, is turning into survival for the affable Irishman. And if he's doing 2:20s to the end of the race, he's not going to hold on to 11th position. Meanwhile, in TCR, Tom Long leads by 11.5 seconds to Kuno Whitmer, 77 and 74. Both Compass Racing cars.
Yep, and given the fact number 74 car had various electrical gremlins yesterday, that's been a good comeback for those two. The Pombos still battling away as they head towards turn 1. The 52 ahead of the 73. That's Mark ahead of Matt.
Do you think they've asked the teams to link the radios together so they can shout insults at each other at various corners?
Matt, by the way, is the elder brother.
He's in second place at the moment. Ooh, being beaten by his little brother. Now there's a decision to be made. I don't like my little brother beating me, but I can't really put him off because he's been
hard for Owen Trinkler. He's got 9 wins to his name, and he's currently running in with the 7th position, having lost 6th to James Clay's BMW.
And Shea Adam can update us on Nate Nuremberg and the 37 Mini, which dropped to the back of the field.
Nothing to worry about. There are no problems there. The only problem was slightly cold tires, thanks to Derek Jones for passing along the information.
You mean thanks to the co-driver for dobbing in his mates. That's a bit rough, isn't it? Cold tyres on the back of these.
Have some GS pit stops. The Murillo Racing guys are up on the wall for both the 56 and the 65, but it will not be a driver change for either of those cars yet. We have movement down at Compass for when TC cars come in.
ST and TCR cars are coming in. Any takers, Shea?
Yes, our leaders from both categories. The number 81 BMW, the ST category leader came in. That is fuel only for Nick Gallant. But for the 77 and 75 TCR cars from Compass Racing, it is going to be fuel for the 77. Britt Casey Jr. staying behind the wheel and then will be sent back out. For Roy Block in the 75, it is fuel, and at the very least, they are doing right front and I think it was left. They might have done front tires only on that car. Britt Casey Jr. powers back into gear.
Another gaggle coming up behind him. Meantime, in TCR, Rodrigo Sales, who did not stop, is leading in the 74 Compass Audi.
Yeah, and he's got the Aston Martin, GS class Aston Martin, in between himself, Rodrigo Sales, and Michael Johnson, now in second place, or remains in second place in car number 54 for JDC Motorsport.
Michael Johnson back up into second, and he has not stopped. Then the 11 behind, then Britt Casey Jr. putting a lot of pressure on at the moment as they come to put a lap on Mike Lamara in the second place ST Mini. Danger time for all concerned. Mike Lamara just holding his line through 9, exactly the right thing to do. He's got Astons and TCRs and all kinds of cars trying to get round him as he comes to the end of the lap. Back end of the Mini, popping and lift, and into turn 1, down the inside. Gee, these TCR cars have got a lot of grip, Jeremy. Britt Casey Jr., having recovered from the spin, right on the back of Kieran O'Rourke and the 75 Compass car, right blocked behind the wheel of that. And Britt is clearly very confident, goes up the inside of the 73 Mini, second place in ST. Check that, third place in ST for Mike Lamara now, because Jason Rabe has gone through in the Porsche, the 21 Porsche, now up to second in ST for the Body Motion Racing car. Max Faulkner to get in that car later on. I want to see more of these TCR cars. I really do. Bring them. Different body shapes, don't mind. Let's have them all. The Alpha's allowed to be here. I want the Giulietta in, please. That'll be pace that he likes, and then stuck with it.
Yeah, done a great job. That's Dad, of course, to Russell Ward running in second place. Russell closing in on Chad McCumbee. Chad McCumbie's just done a 29.9 last time around. Once again, he lost a little bit of ground to Russell Ward. But Bryce Dad in 8th place. That's a great effort. He's holding off now Nate Stacey, who's just found a way past the championship leader Dylan McIvern. That's number 64 ahead of number 28 Porsche Cayman.
Yeah, Dylan lost a couple of positions a couple of laps ago. Bryce went through as well, so I don't know if Dylan made a mistake. But
no, Bryce was ahead of him in any case.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was just the one place he lost it. Greg Leafouge coming together. Leafouge off the track on the outside of the second corner a few moments ago. He has got the fastest lap of the race, has Greg. Well done, Gregory. Lap 55, 1:28.6. That's the new best mark. Oh, Cal Maselli's just done a 1:28.6, but is a couple of hundredths away. And now it's under 6 seconds, the lead, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And only 5 seconds back to Tyler Cook.
That's right. And Indy Doncher also turned a 28.6 last time around. So there's a lot of pace in here. The race leader, meanwhile, last time, Patrick Gallagher, 1:29.3.
And the top three now within 10, 11 seconds, let's call it. It's not that long ago that Marcelli was 14 seconds behind the leader. And now they're all within 11 seconds. The Ford in second, the 60, and the 82 BMW in third. The black and white Optima Batteries car. They are both getting closer to Patrick Gallagher. I reckon Gallagher's pacing himself nicely. He's not doing anything he shouldn't. He's been conservative through traffic, but as the leader, you kind of have to do that.
Oh, it's been a really mature drive from Patrick Gallagher. This is his first season in the Intercontinental Tire Sports Car Challenge, but he's a champion before. He won last year's Battery Tender Global MX-5 Cup Series, and with that, a scholarship from the Mazda Road to 24 to move his way up the sports car ladder, and that's exactly what he's doing here, and he's looking to get a great home result. He's got a lot of supporters here as Patrick Gallagher. He's doing them proud.
Shays just reminded me, John Doonan, the head of Mazda Sport here in the US, was the first chap over to Chad McCumbee when Multimatic won that pole position earlier on today for the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. And as he walked away, he said to Shay, "Those are my boys." So it might have a blue oval on it, but there's a bit of zoom in that car at the front of the field as well. 28.6 from Tyler Cook last time around. The BMW's coming in now. It's only 9.5 seconds between the top three.
Yeah, they're all closing in, aren't they? Because the gap from first to second came down by a whole second on that last lap. It's under 5 seconds now. And Tyler Cook, he closed in as well. You're absolutely right, by just a few tenths of a second. So that is getting closer and closer.
Tom Long mired in traffic at the moment. He is some 21 seconds behind Kuno Whitmer, who leads the TCR class. And he's not gaining enough at the moment, but 1:35 on the last lap.
Maybe that was the car that was running.
Well, maybe he was out of fuel as well. This is
a battle for the lead in TCR, meanwhile.
And the 77 has gone through. Kuno Whitmer's lost the lead in the 74, the multicoloured car, on the last lap. On the last lap. Extraordinary stuff. And I think he's struggling as well. He's weaving left and right. Whitmer's weaving left and right, trying to get some fuel to the Audi engine. drama piled upon drama. We promised you the Mid-Ohio 120. It's already like a fuel problem. Great driving by Kyle Maselli. Pat Gallagher just about holding on. And what about the TCRs? Last half a lap, mile and a half, if that, from the end of the race. And the 74 car just going a little bit deep into turn 9, excuse me. Oh, now, was there a yellow flag at turn 9 for the Aston Martin? And will that be allowed to stand? That was me just thinking